Hello everyone, today's Friday Talk video is going to be on the topic of coaching. So when should you get a coach? When is the perfect time in your training to take that plunge up your level and get a coach? And I'm going to do this from a perspective of someone who is not trying to sell you their coaching plan. So a lot of people who speak on this topic obviously have their own coaching service and are trying to egg you on to join their coaching service. I don't offer any coaching, I don't offer any programs. I'm just going to share my thoughts completely and utterly, honestly, about when I think you should get a coach, if you should even get one in the first place, and all of the stuff surrounding coaching in Strongman, but also in just fitness in general. So before we go ahead and jump into the topic at hand, please be sure to go down below, hit like and subscribe. Every Friday we do a Friday Talk video where I discuss my thoughts and feelings on a particular topic regards to fitness or strongman or strength or training or anything even remotely adjacent. So leave a topic in the comments below and perhaps I will get to it in one of the coming Fridays. But apart from that, we also do training sessions on this channel and also a bit of a coverage of the pro strongman circuit as well. So if any of that seems appealing to you, go down below, hit subscribe and be sure to catch the other videos. But without further ado, let's get into the topic of coaching. So in my mind, there are three reasons why you should get a coach in strongman, strength, any sort of training. In my mind, there are three distinct reasons why someone might take the plunge to get a coach. And these three reasons don't have to all apply to you. They can be three distinct different reasons. But if you fall into any of the categories I'm about to go over, perhaps it is time to consider a coach. Me, myself, I am a part of the third and final category, which is why I am being coached by Big Loz, the best strongman coach in the game. So sit back, relax, and wait for point 3 as to why I've got a coach. But first, we've got two other points to get through. So, reason number 1 why you should get a coach. And that reason is if you don't have any idea what you're doing. Now, what I mean by that is you've started strength training or lifting and you're trying to get in to the compound movements and some of the exercises that people do. You have tried the route of going down YouTube tutorials and working out how to do them via that, and you just can't seem to get the form right. You don't know what it is that you need to fix, you don't know where you're going wrong, but you're just struggling to get a grasp of what's going on. And this is the first reason why you might need a coach. If you're struggling to safely perform the movements that you need to do for strength training, then it is time to look for some help. As I said, you might have gone down the YouTube tutorial route. That's how I self-taught myself all of the movements, and I never had an issue with it. But for some people, that sort of format just doesn't work, and they need someone physically there, or at least there over the internet, where you can sit down, take a look at the videos of you lifting, and they can point you exactly where you're going wrong and explain it in a much clearer and better way. Now, if that is you, then I wouldn't suggest signing up for monthly strength coaching. I just go to a gym or look online and see if there's any strength coaches in the area that are doing one-on-one PT sessions for like an hour or so. And I'd go in and I'd just get them to fix your form, go through a few different movements and see how you're doing. That is that level of coaching that I get for this tier, is just a one-on-one session, maybe a couple times, just to get your form right. And then once you're confident and comfortable with the movements, you can move away from being coached and start self-programming and that sort of stuff. But that is the first reason why I think someone should need coaching or should take the dive for coaching, and that is if you're really struggling to get the form and the movement right, go in, get some help, don't injure yourself, and get sorted. So, reason number 2 why I think you might need a coach is if you lack accountability, you lack motivation, you're struggling to get in and get the work done. In your head, you really want to get strong, you want to get fit, you want to get healthy, but you just can't get yourself to go in and get it done. There's always an excuse you can make to skip it. Now, having a coach will provide that level of accountability. You have someone to report to, someone that makes sure you're not skipping your sessions. Now, obviously, in my head, if you don't want it badly enough, that you're going in and skipping sessions, skipping sets, then perhaps strength training isn't for you. But if you're someone who desperately wants to get into strength training and is struggling to hold yourself accountable and have the motivation to go in and get it done, having a coach when you might know how to do all the movements, you might know what you need to do, you just need someone to report back to, get some feedback, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement if you're being a little prick and skipping everything. You just need that push in the right direction. That is another reason why coaching is massively beneficial for someone, because I know quite a few people who do love training, but they struggle to have the motivation. There's always something a bit more important. Now, having an experienced coach, like Loz, for example, has massive benefits because they know the advice on how to fit things in around a busy life. So they know what it's like to have more important things than training, but they still get it done. So having that person to report to, having that accountability is something that can be really beneficial. Now, perhaps those two are the most common reasons why people go for a coach, but they are neither of the two reasons why I decided to start being coached by Big Loz. And the whole thing is for the most part, you can get pretty damn far with absolutely no coaching at all, just under your own steam, as long as you're motivated and know how to perform the movements. If you can just do those two things and get a basic off-the-shelf program or make your own program up, for the first couple years, you can just plug away really, really well and get pretty damn far. You don't need to spend hundreds on a coach every month to get to a decent level. And quite honestly, I probably don't need a coach. I have one, and there is a very good reason for having one, but I could probably still get a little bit further without coaching. And honestly, the main reason why I have a coach, and this is the third and final reason, is I want to take myself to the best possible place my body can take me. So for most people who are just wanting to get in, do some strength training to get a bit stronger, they don't care how good they can get, they just want to be better than they were yesterday. You don't need a coach. But for me, I want to get the best out of myself, and I don't have the knowledge about programming, about strongman, about exercise that I need to get the best out of myself. I know how to get pretty good out of myself, and I know how to get a decent amount out of myself, but by outsourcing the programming, the exercise selection, any injuries or niggles I get, anything like that, to someone who has vastly more experience in the sport. Like, sorry Loz, I'm going to call you old, but you've been in the sport of strongman nearly as long as I've been alive, so you know a lot. And by outsourcing that level of my training to someone else who knows more, it's essentially like I'm getting the benefit of 20 years of training right at the start. So whenever I get something that doesn't feel right or something that needs adjusting, we know what adjustment we need to make. We don't have to do that experimentation side of things that a lot of people early on do. And that is the big reason why coaching can be really, really beneficial for someone. Is I live quite a busy life. I work a job, I run a YouTube channel, which I know isn't very big, but takes a lot more time than you might expect. I have, obviously, life going on. So I don't necessarily have the time to sit down and really think deeply on my programming, on my strength training. I just want to get in, know what I've got to do, and get it done. So by outsourcing that problem to Loz, I not only get the benefit of his incredibly long experience in strength and strongman training, but also the time save for me that I could just get in, get what I need to do done. It's written down for me, I know what I need to do, and I know that what I'm doing is building towards the ultimate goal of being the best that I can be. And I think it's no secret that when I switched from not being coached to being coached by Loz, my PBs on pretty much everything jumped up about 50 kilo, which is a lot. And since being coached by Loz in the last 2 years, I've taken my deadlift PB from about 230 kilo all the way up to 285, now going on to 300 kilo. And in my head, 300 kilo was not even possible for me. I've spoken about this before in the natural limit video I did, how strong can you get naturally, but I never even fathomed that I would get close to a 300 kilo deadlift. But by outsourcing the coaching and the programming side of things to Loz, I don't even need to worry about where I'm going. I just need to worry about what I'm doing to get there, and it's taking me far further than I ever thought I could do. And that is the biggest takeaway for me about why coaching is so beneficial. Obviously, the first 2 points are the most common points. They're the points you hear all the time. If you don't know what you're doing, get a coach. And if you're not motivated and lack that accountability in yourself, then get a coach. But I had both of those things. I knew what I was doing, and I was very, very motivated to get it done. And I trained like that for a few years. But it got to a point where I thought I could get more out of myself, and I didn't have the time to put in the research and the study that I needed to get the best out of myself. So by outsourcing that to someone like Loz, who knows an immensely huge amount more than I do, I can take myself to the next level without having to do all of that research. And I know a lot of you will be sat there thinking, well, surely if you know that, then you can go on to coach other people and stuff like that. And the truth is, just by working with Loz and seeing the programs changes come in and all of that, I am learning a massive amount more than I ever would before. I mean, the big thing is take advantage of your coach, and not in a bad way. Like, if you're paying someone to put their mind to your body and your training and see how far you can get, ask them exactly why they're doing the things that you're doing in the program. So recently, Loz switched me up from doing a heavy week every week to a heavy week, light week setup, and I asked why, and the explanation was, it seems to benefit me on heavy stuff like deadlift and squat. We'll try it on the overhead. It didn't work on the overhead. We reverted now to a heavy week every week on the overhead. And both of those areas are making gains in different ways. Now, had I been doing that on my own, I wouldn't necessarily have figured that out. Probably not. But it would have taken a lot longer if I had done. But being able to simply ask why we tried this for a block, why we're reversing it, now I know that is something to try for different people, and including myself. And at some point, when I've exhausted everything that I need from Strongman and stuff like that, I will have gained such a vast knowledge just from asking about my programming and asking why we're doing certain things that I wouldn't have had done before. So I think if you do have a coach, or you're looking into getting a coach, just make sure you get the most out of that experience that you can. You're paying probably quite a hefty amount to a coach every month to do your programming. Don't let it stop at just the programming. Obviously, get the programming, get it done, get the form tips, get the help. But also, try and ask about the explanation behind some of the choices made. Try and learn more and more about that area. Because at some point, if stuff goes tits up and you can't afford a coach, and you have to start programming yourself again, well, now you have a wealth more of knowledge that you didn't have beforehand. So I think that is the best way to make the most out of a coach. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to touch on my thoughts about switching coaches, when you should switch a coach, when you should, all of that stuff that comes with switching coaches, because a lot of people have a lot of very different opinions on switching coaches. And in my mind, you should stick with a coach for at least 6 months before switching, because it takes the coach a decent amount of time to learn you as a person, learn you as an athlete, learn your body. So at the start, the programming might not seem anything super whizzy, super fantastic, but with time you'll be able to see that evolving as they get to know you better and better. And the main thing with a coach is having that relationship, to be able to be held accountable, but also go to the coach with all of your life stress and be like, this is what's happening at the minute, how can we work around it? They will program around it. It's a two-way relationship. They get to know you, and you get the benefit of their knowledge back. And you want to get a coach that you can connect with really, really well. And if you've been with a coach for about 6 months and all they're doing is giving you a PDF, not really talking to you otherwise, maybe it's time to switch. But if you're right at the start of the coaching, you're only a month or two in, give it a little bit. It might just be that the coach is getting to know you. But I think after about 6 months, you can usually tell if this person is a good fit for you. And I think rather than going for the incredible amount of knowledge or the incredible exercise selection, that sort of thing, you want a coach that you get on with. And I get on with Loz very well. We're both from very, very similar area of the country, similar sense of humour, met him a few times, got on really well in person, and everyone sort of connected to him in his gym, like online. We all get on very well. We're a part of a community, and you see me in the weekly live chat every week on Loz's channel. Like, everyone there gets on really well, and it's a good community to be a part of. And that's why I went with Loz as my coach, because I was as part of that community before I ever wanted coaching throughout my strongman journey. And I could tell you just sort of get on with that style of humour. It's a British thing. You gravitate towards other Brits in the same area as you. And that's why I went with Loz, and it's paid off well. We get on well, and my strength's going through the roof. Now, why would you go for someone else? Well, maybe you're an American, and you have a very American mindset where they all massively big each other up, and you support each other fiercely. Then you go for an American coach who's going to give you that absolute oomph. And, yeah, maybe that's what you do. You know, I don't know everywhere and everyone's personalities, that sort of thing. Just go for someone who you think you'd want to be mates with, if that makes sense. Go for a coach that you think is going to match your personality well. And it may turn out that they don't, and that's where you can think about switching. But selecting a coach and sticking to a coach are two very important things. And you need to stick with one long enough so that they can learn you, build that relationship with you, and then you can think about switching coaches if it doesn't work out. But 9 times out of 10, it probably will. I've not heard of too many people leapfrogging coaches without them being the problem, if that makes sense. It's hardly ever the coach that's the problem, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's just a sort of waffle of thoughts at the end there on the whole coaching thing. I hope you did enjoy. A bit of an interesting video, this. If you have any thoughts on coaching in the comments below, let me know. And as I said, please be sure to drop any topics for a future Friday talk in the comments below as well. I always take notes of everyone's ideas on this channel. We're a community just as much as anything else, so please be sure to get involved in the comments section, hit like on the video, go and subscribe, and of course, if you want me to cover any more sort of intimate topics, taboo topics, stuff that I necessarily wouldn't want to put on YouTube but might want to talk about, leave them down below and go and join the members only section, because the members only section is where I waffle about my personal life. I cover stuff that wouldn't necessarily fit on the YouTube algorithm, some niche training things, and basically anything that you guys want to see on the members section. If you become a member, then you are obviously invested in me and the channel, so I'm more likely to listen to the wants and needs of you guys. So go become a member, let me know what you want to see over there. But I've been Toby, and I will see you in the next video.